Hey everyone, Rob from the ProWresBlog here at www.ProWresBlog.blogspot.com. Hey, we got another review up for you. This time we got USWA Memphis Wrestling TV from February 6, 1993. The show started out with Jerry Lawler beating the pants off of a jobber named The Shadow. The Shadow actually looked like Storm Shadow from G.I. Joe. Jerry Lawler just beat him real quick here, and he tried to unmask him during the match. He ended up getting the win with the fist drop from the middle rope. Brian Christopher came out, and he was taunting Jerry Lawler, saying he was going to shut his mouth today. And from behind, Doink the Clown was planning some shenanigans. Doink was putting banana peels up near the ring, and Brian finally got in the ring and had Jerry Lawler chase after him. Well, he got back at, and Lawler didn't see the banana peels, and Lawler went flying right across the studio. He kind of stopped some of his fall because he knew it was coming, but yeah, concrete falls are not real fun. And, Doink and Brian Christopher took the advantage and got some cheap shots in until JJ ran him off. Bert Prentice came out with boxing gloves. He was promising to knock out Miss Texas, who he still insists is Bubba Johnson. Got a quick Jeff Jarrett promo. He said, "You think Doink the Clown is real funny, playing in the ring and playing all those jokes? Let me tell you, tonight the jokes are all over." We then got Miss Texas back out again. She called Bert Big Bertha, and she said, "I know I can beat you in a boxing match." Bert then came out, and Bert said, "You're gonna expose me. The whole world knows you're nothing but a man in drag." They had some more heated words, and Doink came out again. Bert swung her around, and Doink had a pie waiting, and he absolutely nailed her right in the face with a pie. Got pie everywhere, and you couldn't even see her face. She had it everywhere. Texas was pretty mad, and she started attacking Bert, and then Bert, absolutely just destroyed her. He wound up and slapped her really good. She landed super hard on the concrete, and mostly because, there were banana peels and pies still there, so she hit pretty hard. It didn't look like a good one. And then he actually just mounted her while he had, pie in his hair and all over his clothes, and he was really raining on her. And I was really surprised they were able to show that because, it's kind of extreme for 1993 TV. I think even today they'd probably be like, "What? I don't think you're showing that." Again, Jeff Jarrett and Lawler came out to clear the heels off, and that ended that segment. We next had Jeff Jarrett versus Mr. Clyde. Jeff had his multicolored robe on, and Mr. Clyde early tried to say Jeff Jarrett pulled his hair, but Clyde recently got his hair cut and didn't have that much hair left, so kind of goofy. Jeff went real quick here with a jumping DDT, and Clyde did a funny fat boy flop off of it. Brian Christopher then got in the ring again, and he tried to get JJ to come and do something. Doink again snuck in, and this time he had oil. He planted oil near ringside, and Brian Christopher got Jeff to chase him, and Jeff ended up slipping all over the oil and falling. Naturally, the cameras missed this, despite knowing exactly where it was going to happen. So, whatever. It looked like a decent bump too, but we didn't see it because they decided we needed to focus on something else. And then they beat up Jeff a little bit, and they slipped all over the place too because we had oil, pie, banana peels, all kinds of crap sitting around there at this point. And they double teamed Jarrett until Jerry Lawler came and cleared him out. The Moondogs and Richard Lee then came out. Richard Lee said, "Mike Samples, let me ask you a question, brother. These look familiar to you?" And he showed off the belts. And he said, "Now you're saying you want a rematch. The only way you're going to get a rematch, hot dog, is to put your hair up." Yeah, he called him hot dog. And he told him, "You need to put your hair up if you want a title match." And Mike Samples said no. They also announced that they'd be doing a six-man tag with the Moondogs and Lee versus Samples and the Harris Brothers at the next show. We next had the Moondogs versus John Thurman and the Scorpion. The announcers even brought up that this was a mismatch, and of course, this was kind of under Moondog rules where they can basically do whatever they want and not get DQ'd for it. Mike Samples came out to challenge Lee, and he was talking trash, and what do you know? Doink the Clown appeared again. Corey Macklin was telling him not to throw pies, and Richard Lee kind of got out of it. And then Doink ended up nailing Corey Macklin in the face with a pie, and looked like Corey was really not too pleased about it. Dave said, "Go to break, please," after this, and they kind of showed some really, really long clips of Lex Luger's debut as a narcissist. It was all him posing in a mirror and Bobby Heenan saying some really, really weird stuff, and I don't know, it was too long and it was really odd. Um, Jerry Lawler then cut a promo. He compared him to a dinosaur and said, "The only problem is, inside these huge, humongous bodies, they only possessed a little bitty brain about the size of an egg." And then Lawler said this. He said, "I've always told people I'm not the strongest wrestler alive, but I'm the smartest. The USWA Unified title is on the line, and if I beat you, Lex Luger, then I get a shot at the WWF champion, and that's what it's all about to me. I want to unify those titles once and for all." We next had the Bruise Brothers versus, actually, we don't really know who they were. They said TD Steele and Jimmy Sadler, but I don't think that was TD, and that definitely wasn't Jimmy Sadler. It ended up being Todd Johnson, and a couple weeks ago, he made quite the performance getting destroyed by the Harris brothers. They really killed him, and again, they did it this time. They hit a big belly to belly early, and Sample said, "This is the chiropractic college today of the USWA. They are adjusting backs. You want your back adjusted, Corey? Get in line." Like always, Mike Samples really just comes up with some good stuff. I always like it. And Todd Johnson was one of the jobbers here, and again he got destroyed, as I mentioned. They hit two backdrops on him on the floor, and they look like really nasty bumps. Both times he hit his head off the concrete floor, and I mean it's just a flat back bump off the concrete. That is not good times. I mean, I play basketball all the time, and I hurt my knee just tramping on that stuff, yet alone, actually bumping on it. The Bruise Brothers then picked him up from the outside and threw him over the top rope and in, and that was kind of a cool spot. But I mean, it was just brutal. They ended up winning with the power bomb, and I really don't know who booked this and who allowed this because this was just cruel and unusual punishment. I mean, they really beat the snot out of Todd Johnson, and they really could have hurt him. I mean, it was just too much. There was no need for it, and yeah, so whew, it was vicious. Brian Christopher cut a promo on JJ, Jeff Jarrett, and, he said he needed to wake up and smell the coffee, and Brian ripped JJ and said he meant business. We got the PG-13 rap from last week, and I actually transcribed it on my blog so you can see it, and I put some gifs up. I'm not going to sing it. I don't, I think if I did, it would come back to haunt me at some point, so just going to have to come and check it out, and you can sing it yourself. Next up, we had the main event, which was Brian Christopher and Doink the Clown versus supposedly TD Steele and Jimmy Sadler. Man, Doink was really, really great here. He was just stretching people right and left. He was so brutal. It was like watching something out of the Snake Pit back in the day, or just watching Billy Robinson go to town on a jobber. I mean, he stretched these guys nuts, and I mean, it was very barbaric, and and the whole time Doink got this evil smirk going on, and I mean, this was just really awesome. He didn't do anything too big, but what he did looked really, really good, and I could say that if this was what the Doink the Clown heel run was all about, then this is some stuff I need to go check out because he was great here. I mean, just like a horror movie monster with technical wrestling ability that came to life. It's the darndest thing I've seen, and it was pretty crazy. Um, yeah, Doink was flying off the top, doing cross faces on him. And then he finished off. He finished off the one opponent with a move where he hooked him, where he put his legs hooked into his shoulders, and he had his head in his crotch area, and he pulled his leg right up. The jobber was screaming, and with Doink's white face and all the lighting, it looked pretty brutal. Yeah, it was a pretty good main event actually. I mean, it was all squash, but I enjoyed it because it looked real. King then came out with Jarrett as they cleared off Christopher and Doink, and King said, "You better keep your words soft and sweet, Brian Christopher, because you're gonna have to eat them one of these days, punk." And that was it. Overall, I really enjoyed the show. Doink made it. Doink was everywhere, and he was pretty entertaining. He was throwing pies, tripping people up, getting involved in all kinds of shenanigans, and then he got in the ring and he showed he was a bad, bad dude. Yeah, Doink was just really brutal here, and He looked like money. He really looked like money. He looked like I said, a horror movie monster with technical wrestling ability, and it's someone you don't want to mess with. So overall, I recommend the show. It has a little bit of something for everyone. Has some brutality in there. Has pies, shenanigans, some good promos. So I say check it out. I like this one, and I thought it was a good episode. I think you will too. So if you enjoyed this, come check out all the pics, gifs, and quotes from this one at WWE. For more with pics, gifs, and quotes from this episode, check out www.ProWresBlog.blogspot.com.